Yo, what's up? Dr. Swole here, MD bodybuilder, back with another video. Today I'm going to be giving you a full hypertrophy program based on the 5-day upper-lower split. This is going to be a science-based program designed for building muscle, and it'll be well set for an intermediate to advanced athlete. In the upper-lower split, you have days dedicated to training all the muscles of the upper body, the waist up, and then you have days dedicated to training the legs. And in this program, I'll be including 3 upper body days and 2 lower body days. Quick outline for today, I'm going to be giving you a full hypertrophy program based on 5 days per week. We'll start off with a program walkthrough, where I explain the program as I set it up, including exercises, sets, and reps. Then we'll talk about how to set it up throughout the week and why. And lastly, I'll explain the pros and cons of the 5-day upper-lower split. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel for weekly top-notch science-based fitness content. All right, guys, let's do our program walkthrough. So here you've got upper body day 1, then lower body day 1, upper body day 2, and then we have upper body day 3 and lower body day 2. You'll see how I set this up in the week later on. Here are the exercises, and then you've got sets and reps. Down here, I have the total number of sets per workout, so you have an idea of the workout length. And lastly, down here, we have muscle groups and their weekly set volumes. We have quads, glutes and hamstrings, chest, back, side delts, biceps, triceps, and calves. You'll see that this program is pretty moderate in volume, which is going to be well suited to an intermediate or advanced athlete. I like keeping track of weekly set volumes when I'm setting up a program because it gives you an idea of how you're prioritizing different muscle groups and also allows you to tweak things over time to find the optimal set volumes for each muscle group for you. Starting off with upper body day 1, we start off with the barbell bench press for the chest, 4 sets of 5 to 8. Then we have dumbbell flies, also for the chest, 3 sets of 10 to 15. Next, we have weighted chin-ups for the back, 5 sets of 6 to 10. Then we move on to cable press downs for the triceps, 4 sets of 10 to 15. Cable curls for the biceps, 4 sets of 10 to 15. And then dumbbell lateral raises for the side delts, 5 sets of 8 to 12. Next, we have lower body day 1, and we start off with the back squat for the quads, 5 sets of 5 to 8. Then we have Romanian deadlifts for the glutes and hamstrings, 3 sets of 6 to 10. After that, we have barbell hip thrusts, 3 sets of 8 to 12, and leg extensions for the quads, 3 sets of 10 to 15. Lastly, we have machine calf raises for the calves, 6 sets of 10 to 15. You'll see that I like to start off my workout with the heaviest barbell movement first and move towards easier exercises later in the workout. This is to make sure that you get the most out of your big, heavy compound movements. You'll also notice that these big, heavy movements tend to do well with the lower rep ranges, and we move towards higher rep ranges later in the workout when we're more fatigued. Now let's do upper body day 2. We start off with the barbell overhead press, 3 sets of 5 to 8. And this is one thing I really like about having the 3 times per week frequency for upper body days, is that you get a day where you can really prioritize your vertical press. A lot of people have strength goals alongside hypertrophy, and it's nice for them to get their numbers up in their overhead pressing. Now we've got T-bar rows for the back, 4 sets of 6 to 10. Then we have close grip bench presses, which I count for the chest and triceps, 4 sets of 6 to 10. Moving on, we have lat pull downs, also for the back, 4 sets of 10 to 15. We have hammer curls for the biceps, 4 sets of 8 to 12. I like having a neutral grip curl in my program to prioritize the brachioradialis. Lastly, we have cable upright rows, which I count for the side delts, but are also a great trap builder. 6 sets of 8 to 12. You'll notice in this program that there are quite a few days where there are a lot of sets for one exercise, like 5 or 6 sets. A lot of this comes down to personal preference. Some people find that when they do a lot of sets for one exercise, they get fatigued for the latter sets, and they can't perform as well. If this is the case, you can all split up to do more exercises with fewer sets. But if it works for you, having more sets of the same exercise will actually save you time, because you're not spending as much time warming up and moving around the gym waiting for gym equipment. Let's go on to upper body day 3. We start off with the incline dumbbell bench press, 4 sets of 8 to 12. You'll see that I like to have a majority of flat work, but also include some incline work for my chest. Then we have dumbbell overhead presses, 3 sets of 6 to 10, and then cable rows for the back, 5 sets of 8 to 12. We'll move on to easy bar skull crushers for the triceps, 4 sets of 8 to 12, and then lying curls for the biceps. This is like an incline curl, except you actually set the bench flat. You get a huge stretch, 4 sets of 8 to 10. Lastly, we have cable lateral raises, 5 sets of 12 to 20. Skull crushers and line curls are stretch type movements, and these tend to cause a lot of muscle damage and soreness. So I put them on upper body day 3 because you'll have more rest until your next upper body session. On the flip side, I've put bench press and weighted chin-ups on upper body day 1. And I do this because you'll be coming in fresh after a rest day, and you'll be able to hit these high priority movements hard. Guys, if you're getting value from this video, make sure you smash that like button. It helps boost the video and I think a lot of people will benefit from this. Finally, let's go over lower body day 2. We start off with deadlifts for the glutes and hamstrings, 3 sets of 5 to 8. Then we have front squats for the quads, 3 sets of 6 to 10. Leg presses are also for the quads, 5 sets of 8 to 12. You'll see that I actually put more sets here onto our leg press than on front squats. This is assuming that you're a little bit more advanced and you actually want to save on the fatigue cost generated by free weight squats. The idea is that the leg press can continue to give you more quad stimulus without generating as much fatigue as a squat would. You can superset your leg presses with leg press calf raises, 6 sets of 8 to 12. Lastly, we finish off with leg curls for the hamstrings, 3 sets of 10 to 15. You'll see that I have one lower day starting off with a squat and the other one with a deadlift type movement. This is to give you some priority to your deadlift. Now, I mentioned before that one of the cons of the upper lower split is that your biceps, triceps, and side delts get fatigued by the end of your upper body days after your heavy pushing and pulling movements. And I usually recommend that people move their bicep training and part of their side delt training onto leg days. This also evens out the workout lengths. But this isn't as much of a problem with the 5-day upper lower because having 3 upper body days will help to even out your workout lengths. And also, since you're spreading out your pushing and pulling movements over more days, you won't be as fatigued at the end of your upper body workout. You'll see that I implement a little bit of DUP here, but it's more on a per muscle group basis. For example, for the biceps, we have our heaviest training on day 3, where we do sets of 6 to 10. Then we have an intermediate day of 8 to 12 reps on upper day 2, and we have our lightest training on upper body day 1. You'll see that in this program, I've set things up very simply, where pretty much all of your upper body muscles are trained 3 times per week. However, you don't have to follow this exactly, and you can modify to have some muscle groups only trained twice per week if you find that they don't need as much volume or if they get really sore. Okay, now that we've walked you through the program, let's talk about how to set it up throughout the week. I like to set this up as upper, lower, upper, rest, upper, lower, rest. I like to spread out my rest days throughout the week as much as possible in order to maximize fatigue distribution. In other words, this will make sure that you get the most out of your rest days to maximize your training productivity across the entire week. You'll notice that when I put upper and lower days next to each other, I like to have my upper day come before the lower day. And this is because a heavy leg day can interfere with your upper body training coming the next day. But this doesn't happen so much the other way around. You'll also notice that I've split up my days so that the upper days are evenly spaced throughout the week, as are the lower body days. This is to make sure that you have enough time to rest in between training the same muscle groups. Okay, now let's move on to pros and cons of the 5-day upper lower split. First of all, with pros, the 5-day upper lower is very well balanced in terms of distributing the amount of volume across different muscle groups. In my videos on the upper lower split, you've heard me say that the upper lower split tends to favor the lower body. And this is because there are just more muscles to train on upper body days, so you have relatively less time to fit in that upper body training. Because of this, your upper bodies tend to get quite long. When you split this up over 5 days to have 3 upper body days, you now have plenty of time to fit in your upper body training volume. Now, on this note, having 3 upper body days also allows for upper body prioritization. So if your priority right now is your upper body, this split is very well designed for that. And lastly, this setup works well with strength programming. A lot of beginner strength type programs will fit well into this split, and if you like high frequency pressing, the 3 days per week upper body days will allow you to do that. Okay, moving on to cons, the 5-day upper lower split does take some experience to program the higher frequencies in with your 3 upper body days. When you train muscle groups with higher frequencies, you do need to be careful about your intensity and volume. That is, if you have trouble gauging your RIR, and you always go to failure and beyond, for example, and you end up being sore for days, you might run into chronic aches and pains with this program when you're hitting things 3 times per week. As you know, I typically recommend training to within 1 to 2 reps shy of failure, and you'll probably want to be careful with your use of really high intensity training techniques. That's not to say that you can't use them, but just that you probably want to be careful about going balls to the wall in every workout. This is why you'll see that in my beginner programs, I usually recommend that people train each muscle group twice per week, just because it's really easy to set up. The other disadvantage of this program is that you're gonna have tougher leg days. Your leg days will be more difficult than your upper body days, which isn't perfect for fatigue management, but it's still a lot better than, say, the difference between a leg day and an arm day in a bro split. Now, I will be sharing the full program in an Excel file in my Facebook group. So if you're not in the Facebook group already, go join it, and you can download the Excel sheet for free. If you really want to maximize your gains, check out my affiliate link for MASS in the description below. MASS, or Monthly Applications in Strength Sport, is an expert research review run by some of the top scientists in the bodybuilding and strength field. Every month, they give you a concise PDF, audio files, and videos breaking down the latest research in a way that's really easy to digest. Plus, when you sign up, you get access to all the prior issues. You'll see that there's virtually nothing that I actually promote on my channel, but this is something I can actually get behind. If you want to learn about bulking, cutting, and recomposition, check out this playlist where I go through each of these different types of phases and how to run them properly. For more science-based bodybuilding content, hit subscribe and we'll see you next time.